Good morning and welcome to the DSR Daily. I'm your host for today, Riley Fessler, joined by Minna Stein. How are you doing today, Minna?
Feeling groovy.
That is fantastic to hear. So we have quite a bit of election news today, so I'll go ahead and get us started. U.S. intelligence officials revealed that Russia has been actively involved in spreading disinformation aimed at disrupting the 2024 election, including creating fake videos accusing Democratic vice presidential nominee Tim Walz of abuse. These videos, viewed millions of times, falsely accused Walz of inappropriate behavior during his time as a teacher. Officials warned that Russia is not only using disinformation, but may also be attempting to incite violence during and after the election. This is part of broader patterns of interference with Russia, Iran, and China using disinformation campaigns to undermine trust in American democracy, potentially exploiting the post-election period to stoke unrest and challenge the election's legitimacy, especially if Trump loses. Not surprising at all, as
Yeah.
we've mentioned on this show before, and I'm sure you've heard many other places this was going to be a problem with this election. It has been a problem with previous elections. It will be a problem with every election moving forward. So, we're just going to have to think of better tactics to kind of identify disinformation and be aware of it. But, I think practicing kind of critical reading skills when you come across any kind of story that you think this doesn't quite sound right. I think that's probably the best way, unfortunately, because it's hard to filter a lot of this stuff out, especially as platforms like Twitter have completely gone off the rails and no longer really have acceptable moderation. So you just have to be careful.
Yeah. I know that's technically news, but I don't know if I'm totally surprised
Right.
that Russia is involved in the election. Well, keeping it on election news, Bill Gates has donated about $50 million to Future Forward, a nonprofit supporting Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential campaign, making a significant shift from his previously apolitical stance. He has expressed concern about a potential Trump presidency affecting global health initiatives. Although Gates has not publicly endorsed Harris, his donation is considered, quote, dark money, meaning it won't be disclosed. This involvement reflects encouragement from friends and family, as Gates emphasizes the unique significance of this election while maintaining his bipartisan approach. Let's go, Bill Gates.
Yeah, I mean, the billionaires are clashing in this election.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's one of those things where you don't want this kind of money in politics at all. But I mean, if it's going to be, I'm glad it's at least equal.
Yeah.
It's not all of the money being funneled into Donald Trump. Although, as we covered the other day, I forget the exact amount, but a gross amount of money from just 3 billionaires going to the Trump campaign. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. The problem is getting worse, not better in terms of money in politics.
Well, I would definitely rather have my money coming from Bill Gates than from Elon Musk.
Yeah, exactly. But I'd like it even better if it neither
exactly.
one was contributing at all. But we have Citizens United to thank for that. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon, especially with the Supreme Court. So
definitely not.
Well, sticking with a little bit of a theme of foreign interference, Donald Trump's campaign has accused British Prime Minister Keir Starmer's Labour Party of blatant foreign interference in the U.S. presidential election after some Labour volunteers traveled to help campaign for Vice President Kamala Harris. The Trump camp filed a complaint with the Federal Election Commission, calling for an investigation into what it claims are illegal contributions from Labour to the Harris campaign. Labour leader Starmer denied any wrongdoing, noting the volunteers were acting in their personal capacity. This follows a history of British political volunteers supporting U.S. campaigns, with Labour typically backing Democrats and Conservatives supporting Republicans. While the complaint could complicate relations, experts believe it is unlikely to cause lasting damage to Trump's relationship with Starmer. U.S. law allows foreigners to volunteer, but prohibits financial contributions. It's kind of interesting. I mean, if they're coming in their personal capacity and it's not being funded by the Labor Party, then there shouldn't be an issue. But,
Mm-hmm.
the story also mentioned that there's been fines in the past for when parties have funded the trip. So, it sounds like he's just pissed off that Labor is supporting Kamala Harris. But, I doubt there's really much there. I don't really see this being a big issue.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I've liked about these stories that we picked today so far is that I feel like they're a nice collection of stories about what campaigns are really like now and what this election cycle is really like behind the scenes. I feel like they've all been pretty interesting. I've learned a lot from them.
Yeah, and basically the takeaway is that our election process now sucks with
Yeah.
so much
Like,
bullshit we have to deal with to
right. Yeah.
actually get get anything done. It's ridiculous. But again, it's just kind of where we are. It's been a slow march to this point. Um, oh well.
Well, our last story is not insightful. It is a return to kind of regular 2024 election cycle news, which is former President Trump criticized former President Obama for actively campaigning in support of Vice President Harris, calling him a, quote, real jerk and a divider, suggesting he appeared exhausted. Trump dismissed Obama's involvement, referencing his own successful campaign against Hillary Clinton in 2016. Meanwhile, Obama has been rallying support for Democrats in key states, targeting black male voters and highlighting Trump's unfitness for leadership. The rivalry between Trump and the Obamas has included personal animosity, particularly due to Trump's promotion of the false birther conspiracy regarding Obama. I've seen a few of the speeches that Obama has given. He's been, really out there trying to get people excited about voting. He's doing a great job. I'm glad they saved him for the end because I was kind of getting nervous. I was like, when are they going to get Obama out there? When are they going to get Obama out there? Come on.
Yeah.
People listen to him. But they're doing this final push with Obama in these key battleground states. And, he's talking about like everybody loves Trump's economy. Where did he get that economy? From me. And I think he's doing a great job getting people excited to vote for Harris and maybe making them less captivated by some of Trump's lies. Like he does a good job poking holes in what he says.
Yeah, Obama seems to like to wait until kind of the final hour to come out and campaign. Like he definitely does not like to get involved in the primary at all.
No.
Which I can kind of respect. I like that he's kind of willing to wait to see who the candidate is. But, it's also the trouble of we'd really like him to get involved sooner to throw his weight behind, whoever's running earlier in the process. But better late than never. I saw the clip yesterday of him in Michigan on stage with Alyssa Slotkin and Eminem, which was pretty sweet. That's the thing is it's so funny, the celebrities that Trump gets versus the celebrities that Kamala Harris is getting, like Taylor Swift, Eminem, covering all the bases as opposed to Kid Rock, Rob Schneider, not sending their best celebrities. I'm going to be honest. It seems like all the cool celebrities are with the Harris camp, as it should be.
Bradley Whitford introduced Obama, I think, in Madison, possibly. And he had this whole speech about being from the Midwest and, the next speaker and all of this. And then he said, and it's true, I would have voted for Obama a third time if I could. And I just thought that was very cute. That's awesome. Clever.
I do like Bradley Whitford. It seems like the entire West Wing cast has been out out in full force for Kamala Harris, which, I don't know how much of broad appeal that has, but it appeals to me specifically.
Well, so getting on stage during a Kamala Harris rally and referencing Get Out is
it's pretty good.
That appeals to me specifically.
Well, for our final story, taking it a little bit outside the election to some international headlines, South Korea's National Intelligence Service, the NIS, reported that North Korea has sent about 3,000 troops to Russia, where they are being trained in drone and military equipment use before deployment to Ukraine, doubling the initially estimated total. The NIS anticipates North Korea will send 10,000 troops by December. The Russian military reportedly values their morale and physical strength, but anticipates heavy casualties due to their lack of experience in modern warfare. Additionally, the NIS revealed that North Korea is relocating soldiers' families to special sites to isolate them. North Korea has not disclosed the troop dispatch to its citizens, though rumors are spreading. These developments have raised security concerns in South Korea, prompting their consideration of military aid to Ukraine. Yeah, so, just to follow up to, we previously discussed the 1,500 troops, but it seems like North Korea is really getting troops to Russia as quickly as possible. It's whether it's kind of a solidarity thing, just trying to get troops combat experience, or a combination of both. Really interesting move. And it's really interesting that South Korea now is considering sending military aid and arms to Ukraine as kind of a counter. So it's almost like a Cold War type proxy war between South Korea and North Korea now, which, North Korea has been kind of arming Russia this whole time. So in a way, I'm surprised it's taken this long. But, sending troops is a pretty significant escalation. And 10,000 is pretty significant. And that's just by December. Who's to say if that won't increase, into the new year. But scary story. Not great. You don't like to see escalation, especially, people using this as a proxy war that tends to historically not work out so well for the countries involved, especially the countries that are at war being used. So hard to say what will actually materially change because of this, but something to keep an eye on, to be sure.
Definitely.
Well, that is the last story I have for today. Anna, do you have anything else to add? Any parting wisdom to give to the good listeners of Deep State Radio?
I don't, but thanks for ending us on such a positive, uplifting note to get us going for our Wednesday.
Listen, I spread cheer and joy.
Always.
It's just a stressful time.
Yeah.
And if I can add to that stress any way I can, I will gladly do so. Well, that is all we have for you. Thank you. Well, that is all we have for you today. But we have the classic Wednesday DSR coming out later today with Rosa, Corey, and Ed. So stay tuned for that. We have more DSR tomorrow and every day for the rest of the week. So please stay tuned. But until then, bye-bye.